China is at it once again. The latest map issued by the Chinese government has shown many territories of its neighborhood as part of Chinese mainland. India, which has been having a very simmering tension going on in the western sector, where there has been a massive deployment of troops in the wake of Galwan clash and Chinese aggressive posturing. Many part of Indian territory has also been shown in that context as part of mainland China, and that includes Arunachal Pradesh, which China considers as an extension of Tibet or calls it as a southern Tibet province. And also, Aksai Chin has been shown as a part of China, which also remains a contested thing because from the Indian point of view. Having said that, also there are other issues like maritime boundary. Chinese map has shown an extension of maritime boundary which clearly encroaches upon in the southern China Sea, where other neighborhood countries like Vietnam, Malaysia, Brunei, for that matter, or Philippines, they have always had conflict or disputes with the Chinese claims. Then there are issues with Taiwan also, where Chinese government's map shows that Taiwan part of its mainland, and that is a part of Chinese vision or Chinese dream of Xi Jinping, the current president, of integrating Taiwan as part of mainland China over a period of some time. And he has in the past also said that the government will not hesitate in using military force if that is necessary to ensure that Taiwan it becomes integral to the mainland China. Now, Chinese statecraft has always been like this, first, and that is called nibbling like a silkworm, because they try to provoke certain countries, especially in the neighborhood, as part of their expansionist agenda, and provoke not in a way that it will cause some major grievances or major issues or conflict, but they will continue to aid, and then they will try to legitimize that problem or that territory as a disputed territory, and over the period of time they will start provocating those territory with militarily. They will do their massive military deployment and make it an issue of legacy or a history that has always been contested. So this is how Chinese expansionist regime works, that they first create a dispute, then they provoke, and then they create a legacy issue, and then they try to negotiate with the other country that okay, now let's negotiate. So, and this is where the Chinese have not been able to do with India when they try to do that in Galwan. We saw, though we lost 20 Indian soldiers and there has been multiple casualties on the Chinese side as well. But Indian forces have been steadfast in protecting the sovereignty and territorial integrity of India, and there has been multiple round of talks at military level, corps commander level, diplomatically also. India and China have been engaging. External Affairs Minister Jas Shankar has been talking to his Chinese counterpart Wang Yi, and Doval has also met Wang Yi, the Chinese foreign minister, in Johannesburg on the sidelines of BRICS NSA level talk. We saw last week only Prime Minister Modi and Xi Jinping, the Chinese president, also having a conversation on the sidelines of BRICS summit level talks, where the two sides did talk about boundary issues, and India flagged it as a matter of concern that it should be de-escalate and there should be disengagement and there should be a lowering of high tension that has been going on in the Western Ladakh, while China considers that the issue of boundary dispute should be put appropriately in a context of bilateral relationship, and other part of the bilateral relationship should continue unabated, unimpacted by the dispute that we are already having in Western Ladakh, where India differs completely and says that unless and until the border disputes are settled, there cannot be normalcy in the bilateral ties between India and China. With the latest map that Chinese government has issued, this is not the first time. In the past also we have seen China coming up with certain renaming of certain places in Arunachal Pradesh, renaming rivers and mountain peaks, to which Indian External Affairs Ministry has said that it does not change the reality. There is a rule of law. There is a sovereign territory of India. The revenue generation of those villages come to the Indian exchequer. So clearly, if some other country tries to rename a territory and try to reclaim those territory, that is not that is going to happen on the ground. But still, Chinese agenda, Chinese intention is very much clear. It still is not shying away from its expansionist way of thinking or looking at its neighborhood. And this is where neighboring countries have to be very careful with Chinese double speak, that it wants to have a normal relationship in other dynamics of life or other bilateral dynamics, but at the same time, it wants to nibble away the smaller territories gradually, and then probably after some time, it will claim a larger territory of its own. This is what the Chinese statecraft or Chinese diplomacy has been working in the past several decades. But fortunately, India has been able to protect its own territory, and there are massive deployment of troops. There is negotiations going on for the de-escalation and disengagement, but with the latest map that Chinese government has issued doesn't look like that Chinese are intending to have any resolution or any improvement in the bilateral ties, given the caveat by the Indian government that until the peace and tranquility returns in the border areas, there cannot be normalcy in the bilateral relationship. The map and the issues that is going to arise out of it will also have some impact on the upcoming G20 summit talks, where, of course, Prime Minister Modi is going to be under one roof with so many world leaders, including Chinese President Xi Jinping, if he happens to come to Delhi. And if such non-conducive environment of talk and bilateral engagement remains on the ground, then probably it will not be best it will not be very good for the bilateral ties or the multilateral events where the Chinese and Indian sides will have so many issues, especially boundary issues, which has overshadowed and impacted adversely all the other dynamics, all the other aspects of the bilateral relations.